California. And the item that we applied, we wrote a narrative on several items and were rewarded on a point system. We were awarded a partial award of a grant for procurement of generation equipment for our airfield lighting pole. So if you are or are not aware, if you come in, turn the lights on in the middle of the night under pilot controlled lighting, everything comes on and it works great, except that there's no backup generation. So if we were to lose power in the middle of the night, we would lose airfield lighting. So this grant is to procure generation equipment for the airfield. Right now we're in the process of solicitation of bids for the equipment itself, and hope that we would have more to update next month and move forward with this project. But it's a small project, but I think one that will have big dividends for the district. AOA area perimeter fencing signage.
Got a real quick question. Is there a dollar amount?
Yes. So this award or this grant is a little different than what like the FAA grants that we're used to. They essentially award you a fixed amount of money, and you kind of make your project fit in with what they award you. So I don't have the exact dollar amount. I can provide that for you, but it's around $80,000 for the generation equipment. And Cal OES actually, when they award, they just send you the money. So they have already paid us the $80,000.
One more question, if I could.
Yes, sir.
Now, is that just for the lighting, or do you got other things that might need that power?
This is strictly for airfield lighting, and any application of the funds that they gave us have to be applied specifically to the project narrative that we wrote.
Okay, so
we can't use the money for, a generator for the administration building, for example. It has to be applied to the airfield lighting.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Matt had asked a while back for us to look into the signage on our perimeter fencing, our no trespassing and informational signage. We did a little bit of investigation into that and determined that approximately 25% of the perimeter fencing needs either replaced or missing signage. So we're in the process of making sure that we have the correct signage, and we're getting quotes for replacement, as I said, of approximately 25% of our perimeter fencing signage, as well as to do some repairs to the security fencing. So we will have another update for that next month, or excuse me, not next month, next meeting. Our fuel bowser, the district was approached by one of the tenants with a question to rent a 500-gallon fuel bowser that we had in our inventory. It's not something that we had previously offered on our rate sheets, so Lynn is working with Scott and myself to create a rental agreement for this asset, and we're looking forward to adding that to our rate sheet soon as an asset that we can offer to our tenants. Right now it's undergoing some needed repairs, but it will be something that we'll be able to offer in the near future. And there's if you see some activity on south of Taxiway Bravo, we had an event a couple of weeks ago that caused a rupture in the 24-inch main on the water main south of Bravo that affects the tenants between Bravo and Rickamini. So water service serving tenants on Rickamini. Fortunately, it's a loop system, so we're being fed from an eastern direction, and we don't have water shut off to any of our tenants currently, but maintenance is in the process of doing some work over there. So you'll see equipment off of Bravo for the next week or two, and some holes in the ground. What we're doing is working to repair that 24-inch main and get both sides of the loop back up and running. As far as updates to maintenance in particular, we are in the process of renegotiating our landscape contract with our landscaping provider to address some of the concerns that have been brought up lately with the oleanders, the ball field, things of that nature. So we are looking for entertaining bids from potential new customer or contractors, as well as working with Sharper to renegotiate our existing contract. So we'll have something hopefully in place in the coming weeks. On that note, we did verify today that we've been able to get water restored to all of the oleanders on Belshaw and as well as the ones on the south end of Airport Boulevard. So any of the oleanders that have been in question lately, I know they still look bad, and we're on top of it. But as of today, everything is confirmed that it is getting watered. And on that note, if you have any other questions, that's all I have.
Floyd, I had just a real quick one on the fuel Bowser. Is this going to be a long-term lease, or just for a month or so, or is it just a month to month?
We haven't worked out all those details yet. It's potentially something that could be long-term, but or it could be on a per-use basis.
And do we have any existing tenants that we don't have any other fuel Bowsers we're leasing? I think we have a tenant that has one, but I believe they own.
I know some of the tenants do own their own. The district owns two. We had one that was a fuel asset that the one in question had been taken out of service a few years ago when Mercy Air left. So we're looking at putting it back into service, offering it to the tenants. And then we do have one that we utilize at the fire station as well.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Thank you, Floyd. That concludes Floyd's report there, and I'll continue on with my report. So with ARF, we do have a few pictures to provide you. We do have new tires on the T3000s, and at the moment, Jason's going to pull this up with his screen share. And while they might just be tires, you can see the old ones there, and now the new shiny ones. Following pictures here. Some of these right here. So some of the tires were 20 years old, and the recommended max lifespan is 15 years. And we spent quite a bit of money on these. Our goal is to be proactive as possible with the ongoing maintenance, with oil changes, oil filters, water filters, water pumps, check all the above. So we're staying on top of this, and we want to put in the budget in the next few months an extra or spare tire for all of the vehicles in the event we have a catastrophic or failure with some of these tires here. So that's our maintenance there. We did have an in-flight emergency with a long easy last week. It landed uneventfully. The nose gear was unable to extend. Interestingly, once they rolled out, it was able to extend the gear on the roll out. So it was quite odd to see two wheels and one and skidding to almost a stop, and then whoop, his nose gear popped up and taxied out. Well, yeah. So he taxied back to the gate. No incident. We did write the report there. So lastly, with fire extinguisher training, two of our large tenants received training from our chief of fire, Damien Farrar. So that's ongoing. And lastly, in your attached board packet is the report from Director of Security Chief Spandorf. So that concludes my report. I'll entertain any questions.
I have a question. What are you doing to dispose of those tires off the crash trucks?
That's a good question, Mr. Deaver. We have asked the mechanic to take them with him. We do have a couple old spare tires that we could possibly donate to local high schools or for physical training. So that is one option to do. Did you have an idea, Mr. Deaver, on what would be?
No, I was just curious. I know borax is a real problem with those tires they got in those haul trucks.
Right. And so
I just don't want to see it lying out in the desert sometime.
No, sir. No, they're being taken care of.
The dump will take them as far as residential goes. I don't know about this.
Oh, I don't think they'll accept them at the landfill. It's part of the scope of work that the maintenance folks have.
The tire that we bought them from won't recycle.
They took them.
Oh, they did?
Those tires that were replaced today are gone.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. That's why I didn't understand that.
Yeah. And that's it for my report. Thank you.
Hey, Bob Morgan's here. I just wanted to unmute, let you know, because I think I missed the roll call.
Oh, you did? Okay, Bob, we'll note that.
Good.
All right, Mr. CEO.
Chair, members of the board, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. One of the things I want to mention right off the bat, did not include in my report, because it just occurred yesterday evening. And that was the fact that Floyd VanWay has actually accepted a lateral promotion to Director of Maintenance and Facilities. He will be assuming that position. We will soon be going on the street to hire a new Director of Planning. And onward and upward, congratulations, Floyd. Well deserved. Look forward to working with you in that capacity. So GA pavement rehabilitation, we have started making those modifications internally in order to just provide some sort of Band-Aid that will potentially hold us over until we start doing the actual rehabilitation, which is currently under design. We received the response or the results of the topo and geotech work that was done on the pavement. And while I can't really speak to all of the results, one in particular was the pavement will stay on. It took an engineer to determine that. But anyhow, so we're moving forward with the design, and we'll let you know what the damage is going to be financially whenever we receive the later estimate. Go to the next slide, please. There's a couple there of the different pavement. It looks so pretty. Go ahead, next one, please. I mean, it does. I mean, this is something that I've felt very personal about for quite a while, and to see something start to happen makes me feel pretty good. So yeah, we'll continue on. Next slide, please. So we're currently in the negotiating phases. ClearSun has requested leases for the 9.8 acres of property behind the ball field and a lease for the design and construction of general aviation hangars. Right now, what we have intended is the preparation.
It won't work on the screen.
Okay. The preparation of the sites immediately south of the existing general aviation hangars. If I may approach the board here. These sites be prepared for development. This will provide individuals the opportunity to develop their own hangars as they wish. One of the things that we have done along the way is working with Matt, some other airports, both in California, or the United States, to development standards. In other words, some standards that says, if you're going to build a hangar, it's got to meet this criteria. And that's just to prevent getting hangars that really are, if something happens, one thing you got to keep in mind, if something happens to one's hangars, so backing out or leaving, what do we do with the hangar? It has to be something that we can sell or lease to someone else. So we want to make sure it's that minimum criteria. And then Calspan will fill these particular generation hangars here. These are T hangars that are banked, they call it, banked T hangars. And then this last one will be the future development. Their lease is what we're negotiating is for these two pieces. The design construction of the store hangars and the design and implementation of infrastructure to accommodate the development of hangars in that area. My question is, before I get too far into working with the folks at Calspan,
Not Calspan.
I mean, ClearSun, how much interaction and involvement does the board want to have in it? And if you guys want to be involved, if you don't want to, that's fine too.
A little bit if it could. I mean, for example, of those 40 by 40 hangars, 50 by 50, what kind of size hangars are we talking right here? Yeah. No, that above that, those box hangars.
Sites.
Oh, sites, not,
So you can, if somebody wants to build a hangar,
okay.
they can.
Because I'm taking those other ones that are 42 by 40 and I'm putting them in that place, and that looks like about the right size for those, but maybe a little bigger.
This is just
Okay,
Like I said,
right.
that's just.
Proposed.
And some might be a little bit bigger, some might be a bit smaller, I mean, like,
Yeah, your depth, I think you're gonna be restricted, but your width,
Mm-hmm.
somebody might wanna go 1.5.
right.
Uh, one more question, the Chuck, the, from Sun, that's. Kent,
Mhm.
sorry. Would he be a potential financer if some of these other box hangers, if somebody wanted to build one, would he be interested?
That's not beyond the realm of possibility.
Okay, I'm just wondering, because that's gonna be a
So
question at some point.
Kent's background, he is a tax attorney. And, you know, anytime that you can find a way to invest somebody's money that would help offset taxes, that's what he's going to do. And so what he has found is it's been very, very successful in the solar business. And he sees ways, not that he's disclosed to me, the methods of doing the same thing with aerospace facilities and gaining a lot of tax incentives from that. Yeah, I mean, trying to answer your question.
I was sitting in when he was explaining that. Yeah, he understands that quite well.
So, Matt, to understand, you're going to prepare the ground to put hangers in them, but
There'll be electric, the water.
okay,
And that will be on
Just-
his dime, or?
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
And then who's going to own the hangers if they're built? Then
He will own the hangars. The lease we're looking at is probably like 30-year lease,
okay,
where he will have them for 30 years and then work to us through that
a
lease.
standard lease the way hangers are now.
Mhm.
Okay,
Right.
So we're talking about sites in that top row, sites in the bottom row, and then T hangers in the middle row.
Right.
And then he would own like a 30-year lease on that land and own the physical T hangers. That's what the
Right.
step we're talking about. And now we're
Right.
talking about infrastructure to support just the sites on the top row or the sites on the bottom rows.
No, so initially, what we consider doing is we prepare these sites for the road, right? We build this road, okay. We're not gonna do anything with this down here right at the moment.
Okay.
Depending on which one of these is better, will determine what we do.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense.
and so is this gentleman Kent he's gonna take care of the runners and everything? They go through him or they go through the airport? Okay, so okay,
That would be outlined in the lease agreement.
okay,
Okay, that was a question I had.
We will be handling the administrative part of that. And probably the way it works, people will send those rent money to us.
mm-hmm.
And when they do, those part of the agreement, we'll be spending such a percentage of that revenue to them.
So if it comes to that people want to build hangars, is that going to go through him then? He's going to find someone to build, not any airport involvement and that, just, okay.
But
Mhm.
again, we haven't got
Right.
that far.
Details,
But
right.
That's kind of my plan.
Okay. Yeah, the ground seems level enough that you don't have to do a huge amount in that area. It kind of slopes as you come to the south. But,
My
yeah,
biggest concern is not the drainage so much, but the drainage conveyance. I think right now the water line and there's a drain that comes down through here.
mm-hmm.
That's going to have to be probably moved, probably over the year.
Yeah.
I don't want to split it into in the mailbox that we've got there. But we're going to do something with that, I would imagine. Any other questions about that? I will keep you all informed.
Right.
And of course, needless to say, I'm not going to make any financial decline decisions without being first. I just want to make sure that you all.
What do you see as a timeline for this?
Well,
Okay.
so what we're doing is we're going to make it part. I think it's going to be him taking the 9 acres for solar.
Okay.
To contingent upon him starting this project within a good amount of time. it might be 9 months, might be a year, but it's gonna have.
So no hangers where he's putting the solar, then?
No.
That's totally separate.
Yes.
This is separate, okay.
Right.
So when discussing water and electric, has there been discussion on, hey, are we doing 220 or
We haven't done that
No,
whole
okay.
that aspect of it.
just throwing it out there? That would be really useful to some folk.
So, to your point, and I've been talking to so many different people. I haven't talked about that with myself.
Mhm.
I've talked about that with Ken Keats, who owns a record store, and he's a salesman for a record store. And he mentioned, in essence, the same thing. That 220 would be much more valuable to tenants than you're saying.
Yeah, 120 is good. Like the 7 is better than nothing, sure.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah,
right.
220 is.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the question that came up, and I did have this conversation about it, is some of these folks who will be these containers, they're very business. They're
Mhm.
making parts for the building.
Yep.
We need that. Yeah. Additionally.
Mhm. Yeah, and most of the hangars have 220 that I'm aware of right now. Mine does. So,
I didn't
yeah.
realize that.
okay. Some
Those in
do.
mine had 90 volts.
Yeah. It's easy to convert it, actually. 110, just,
End of the line.
yeah, it's not
That's pretty good.
difficult to get 220. Get 110.
Next slide, there's another question
Okay.
on that. The next
Mhm.
slide. Thank you. So, currently working with folks at Brad Crane. They, years ago, there was a airspace limit. There's a limitation to their lease because of airspace issues, where they couldn't bring a train. They were not allowed to bring a train down if they wanted protection zone. So, as it relates to trains, this is the runway protection zone. And this is the standard runway protection zone for a runway that does not have a instrument approach. With a non-precision or management approach. It's 500 feet across the front, 1,700 feet long, and 1,000 feet wide back here. So this runway protection zone and imaginary services that go along with it flies at a rate of 20 years. Okay? What the regulations say that relates to trains is if you have a railroad track, that imaginary slope has to cross that track at least a 22-foot elevation. So a 21 slope, and take 20 times 23, that's the distance that you get after directed. But what I did was, this is the 23-foot line. Applying a 21 slope with one protection zone, applying the horizontal slope, which is a 7 to 1 off the side of the runway. This is 23 feet. So as long as your railroad is outside of that, you're fine. I'm not saying I'm advocating for having rail cars or trains in the road protection zone. However, I am saying that it's not illegal or wrong to use this track as long as whenever you're going to have rail cars in the road protection zone, it's noted that you let the folks in the town know it's properly noted. And the only reason we're doing that is because it's in the protection zone. It's not causing obstruction to that space because it's non-obstructive.
Sorry, I'm not familiar with that particular stretch of track. What is that normally used for? What would it be used for?
It's, okay, so it's a spur, I'm sorry. So, you know what this is, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so what happens is the folks from,
Progress.
Progress Rail typically bringing in pieces for Terrigen to lay down out here. They need to come down here and do some other stuff. And at the time, I didn't realize there was something administratively that had been done internally by all of those to prevent them from using this stretch of the railroad track. The reason I'm bringing this to your attention is I'm working with them to try to provide them some of the leads so they can use this to a certain degree.
Was that just bringing rail cars across and parking them or just transiting it? There was an issue with the cranes. We had a a tenant here complain about the cranes. I don't know if you were familiar. And I think that's because they were operating real close to that area. And I know they don't operate unless the tower's open.
Yeah, sorry, Jimmy, yes, that was the issue, was the cranes and the RPZ.
Okay. Yeah, we had a tenant complain.
Okay. We will, obviously, with that.
Yeah, well, I get the issue there. And even with the tower open, it's,
I think, yeah.
Yeah, the cranes are a problem. I'm interested to hear from more professional pilots in the crowd on this, but the last thing I care about when I'm coming in my little airplane is a train going by. The cranes, yes, I've had to split between those before. So I'm just, you do what you gotta do on a hot day, all right? But as far as the trains go, like, is there an issue? With, I appreciate runway protection zone. There's some legalities, but it sounds like it's completely legal. So.
what I recall is they were unloading in that area. They were bringing the turbines in onto the airport and actually unloading them there. And that's where it got to be the issue. So as far as trains going, they're going to go there all the time. I don't know, maybe not parking them there.
Well,
Would be a good idea, but
with the train issue, that's a different area.
Yeah.
okay.
Because even, again, legally speaking, as long as the crane operator is in contact with the tower, and it's been noted that you have a crane down temporarily, you can legally do it.
Yeah. I think we've always been in compliance, but
I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. I'm like you.
yeah.
When you smack a crane, that's
You come in your $30 million plane and you don't want to even think about that one.
so. Like I said, if you see a rail car coming through here, that's what's happening. The intent is not to ever have a car down here, even on a temporary basis. Stop, change direction, maybe, but park there.
So go back to the original start of this conversation. Bragg was requesting
Yes.
the park
in this area or Terry.
the parking there.
No, they're going to come through here.
Oh, to take them to the new site closer to that site,
Right.
which is over by Progress Rail is where they'll unload?
Yes.
Okay, that's the part I'm missing.
Okay, so a couple weeks ago, and I apologize, I didn't put this slide in this presentation, but so a couple weeks ago, Bragg Crane is getting ready to lease space. I apologize, Dan. So that area off of,
Storage yard,
yes.
Todd.
Oh, okay, good. So, okay, put it here.
But you just, no, it says storage yard.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Where's the snow yard? Right there. This area, there's about 25 acres that they're wanting to lease. They had leased this originally years ago. So they're going to lease it again. And they're wanting to get they're wanting to be able to get in a position where they can bring the rail cars down here, unload them onto the truck. That'd be the quickest and easiest thing to do.
Makes sense.
So that's why they'll be transiting the long spec. Now that's help a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. That gives me a little bit more context. So yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
so when they cross Belshaw, we don't have any crossing arms or anything like that. They'll have a man out there to stop traffic or. That's what progress does.
Several, there'll be processes and procedures.
Okay.
Right. So,
That's what they've done in the past. They've done their own crossing,
Yeah.
stop and traffic, car traffic.
And nuts and bolts of it, but
as I understand, it, one time, somebody in the Progress Rail came in over a rail car that was too heavy.
yeah, they had the big engines and wasn't rated for the rail's not rated for it.
So things like that kind of tipped me off to the fact that we need to look at some other processes and procedures as it relates to that using those rails and what kind of equipment they're going to use on the rails, things like that. And I know those turbines they're not light. So I mean, there's other questions I have to answer. The first one that that I'm answering is the airspace issue. Next slide. So our GPS for runway 30, it's LPD approach. And go to the next slide. GPS for runway 26 and the departure for runway 12. Next slide. Oh, go back to it. I'm sorry, that's not good. Regardless, these approaches and procedures go into place December 2nd. Pretty excited about that. Thanks. That's going to be great. So, you know, the airspace level agreement is completed. It's being started for signature. The folks at Hughes Aerospace have requested a copy of the signed letter that they will use as support for some block altitudes that will be also part of this. And it's moving forward. Actually, now it's really picked up speed. And for the longest time, it's like trying to push a dead body up a hill.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
Is the GPS approaches for 4 and 2.2 still going to remain in place?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So you're going to have 4 GPS approaches here then?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to say this. Nobody said anything to me about removing the approach.
Right. I just,
So
okay.
I'm under the impression that that's not part of it. Yes.
because the 4.2.2, they're more, you know,
Right.
altitude friendly for no mountains and
Right.
airspace and everything.
Yes.
That's kind of why they put them there, I believe.
Yes. And I think that these approaches may also have something to do with the reason why that it was requested to expand that criteria. Not sure. I'm kind of putting two and two together. Next slide. Maston. Maston is currently in the process of modifying Building 86. This is Building 86 right now in the current configuration. It currently has some HVAC in the server room. They're getting ready to make some significant changes to the layout. We can go to the next slide. Okay. And this will be the new layout of Building 86. And they're going to install a new HVAC system. That HVAC system will cost approximately $215,000. They will be coming to us requesting some level of rent abatement. As I understand it from talking to Mr. Mojave, that is a rent available item. So that's at the end of the day, from the way I understand it, is the board will make a decision on what percentage or how much of that they want.
We've done similar in the past, things like that to help tenants. And
Right. And that's something that will.
can you, again, I don't know the building numbers yet. What building are we talking about?
86.
Oh, okay. Didn't know they had that one.
They're at the same time, they're also building over here.
Right.
And aren't they in 25 or so?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love the expansion. They've been in 25 for years.
Oh, man.
That's great. That's great.
They've done really well with 25.
Do you happen to know their employee count, roughly?
I can tell you this, it's more than triple since they started here. I mean,
Okay, good. That's great to hear.
Sean Mahomes done a really good job with that. Next slide. So, a couple other things we're working on. Orbital, their lease, they have requested that we take another look at their lease rates and the way that they're structured. So what we're considering is possibly graduated scale for them. Working with Flynn on this. We're currently working with Floyd, trying to get some exhibits that show precisely what they use and what they don't use. Once we confirm the quantity of area that they use, they have 3 or 4 buildings and they have the test site as well. So there's a lot of moving parts there. I think we'll be able to help them out. FBO services, that means last Wednesday and Thursday with the FBO provider. They are very interested in coming over here probably this Thursday or Friday and have a further discussion. My personal feelings on this is two things. I want to see an increase in services overall. Flight school, MRO, avionics shop, rental programs, and most importantly, I want to make sure that we continue to make, we generate about $1.5 million a year on the fuel. We're going to make sure we continue to do that. I guess once you run the numbers, it's really closer to 1.1 million, which take the overhead out of it. But still, that's serious money. And we don't want to give up that concession and just for guarantee that people are trying to run more. Yes, sir.
Would that FPO be used an existing hangar or building a new hangar? Or what's the?
We're looking at a couple of different ideas. One is subletting from the existing hangar. And the second, they're considering actually starting out operating out of a modular facility.
Well, because obviously near the old control tower would be the prime place to have a FBO.
Right.
And Northrop, and that has those buildings now, those hangars now.
Right. So until, here's what we're talking about.
Okay.
We're talking about potentially building something.
A building / hangar.
Well, their building will be maybe either between 61 and 77, or between 68 and 60. They're also considering the potential of they're looking. What are the possibilities of them building a new fire station, and then taking over the fire station and redoing that for FBO services?
Because I think 70 would be the pick or to open an FBO here. Right? Yeah. Because right near the pilot room and everything, fuel, I don't know.
Yes.
That's my pick.
But I think you're going to be. I think you need to be going further this direction.
Okay.
Because you need to have access to these folks over here as well.
Okay.
And then we have to take these folks as well as down the O's, down the GA area.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten that specific on the location.
Sure.
Our big concern has been how much and what type of facility do you need to get started. So that's what we're about. I do want to mention Harold Smith and Ron Langford. They both resigned about a week ago. Harold spent 42 years here. He was a great, incredible chancellor of the district, and I wish him nothing but the best as he goes forward in his endeavors. Ron Langford served here for 16 years, part-time, doing on Saturday. I spoke with Ron a few times. Ron did not contact me when he resigned, so I don't know the details there. I'll find out everything from him about the election.
Is there a plan to fill that position for Saturday?
So, yes, we'll move in that direction. Okay. Right now, we're providing those services with our current staff, but we would like to hire a part-time individual to provide fuel services on people. If there's nothing else, do you have any questions? I'll be glad to try to answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, board committees. We have no board committees. Board of Directors. This portion of the meeting is reserved for board members to comment on items not on the agenda. Is there any board members that have any comments? None being. Public comments. Many members of the public may make comments to the board on items not on the agenda. I don't think we have any public out there that I can see. All right, none being, we will move into closed session. Jason, I don't know how that works.
What do we do now?
Mhm. How many public are listening? Any? 0.
Oh,
Okay.
I didn't see those up there.
Yeah. Okay.
Look up. Where? They were up there? Oh, okay.
See them here.
Okay, I'm not there. Sorry.
Because in previous
Well,
ones-
that's why when public comments and stuff, I didn't.
Yeah.
To me, I don't see anybody, but it's changed. And I'm just,
I've seen 5, 6, 7
I'll
more
learn.
a lot of times.
right.
Public. Why don't they want to listen to us?
Can I go ahead and put one? And then Jimmy and